Some truths don't whisper, they strike like thunder, tearing through the calm and forcing you to face what you've been pretending not to see. Mine arrived at a wedding reception, hidden behind laughter and champagne, and from that moment my world was never the same. My name is Victor. I'm 47 years old and I built my life with my own hands, every beam, every brick, every ounce of it earned through years of grit and sacrifice. I'm not a man of fancy suits or silver tongues. I prefer denim, sawdust, and the scent of rain on unfinished timber, but I did well. I owned property across 3 states, had no debt, and more importantly had peace, or so I thought, until the night I realized just how fragile peace can be when it rests in the wrong hands. Her name was Rachel, 39, smart, stunning, and ambitious. The kind of woman who walked into a room and made you forget what you were about to say. I met her while renovating her company's office. She was all sharp edges and charm, and before long she was spending more time at my place than her own. 6 months later she moved in. I gave her everything: keys to my homes, access to my accounts, a space that was hers as much as mine. I even started designing a custom home inspired by her taste, a reflection of the life I thought we were building together. I believed in us completely, but sometimes belief blinds you. Her friends were polished and picture perfect, the kind who sipped champagne at brunch and looked at men like me as projects, not partners. I endured it because love asks for patience, or maybe it asks for blindness, I'm still not sure which. Then came that night, a wedding, grand, loud, dripping in gold and self-importance. We were surrounded by laughter, music, and people pretending to like each other. One of her friends asked when we'd be tying the knot. I didn't even have time to answer before Rachel laughed a laugh I didn't recognize and said, I'd rather stay single for life." The laughter that followed was sharp, cruel, and endless. They clapped my shoulder like I was a good joke, and she joined them. In that moment, everything went still. I didn't shout, I didn't argue. I just looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the truth she had been hiding behind affection and charm. Then I walked away. Not just from the reception, but from her, from the illusion I'd built, from the man who thought love could make him enough for someone who never truly saw him. I drove through the night to my mountain cabin, the one she said was too rustic, and watched the stars stretch over a silence that felt like truth. By dawn I knew what I had to do. Back in the city I made my calls to my lawyer, my bank, my advisor, not out of anger but clarity. I wasn't going to let betrayal bleed me dry. At home I packed my essentials, left the ring I'd had custom made locked in its box, and placed a single letter on the counter. 30 days to move out, utilities on, credit cards deactivated, contact through my attorney, no theatrics, just finality. I walked out with my self-respect intact. When she realized what had happened, her calls came in waves, pleading, apologizing, manipulating. I ignored them all. She showed up at my office, tears streaked down her face, calling it a joke, blaming the alcohol. But I remembered her tone, her laughter, the way she looked at me when she said she'd rather stay single than marry me. That wasn't alcohol speaking. That was honesty dressed as humor. She accused me of being dramatic. I told her I was just listening to her truth. Over the next week, desperation turned to anger, then entitlement. She tried to play victim, to rally sympathy, to rewrite the story. But I'd stopped auditioning for love that didn't respect me. When her credit cards were declined and her access vanished, the reality set in. She turned hostile, claiming I ruined her life, but I didn't ruin anything. I simply stepped out of a lie. Days later, her sister Vanessa called. Rachel was staying on her couch, crying, barely eating. She begged me to talk to her. I said no. Pain teaches lessons comfort never could. Vanessa told me Rachel still loved me. I said no, she loved the life I gave her, not the man who built it. Weeks passed. She tried to take my furniture, even attempted to claim part of my home. My lawyer handled it swiftly. I didn't need revenge. Watching someone who mocked you face the emptiness of their own choices is its own kind of justice. Word spread. People whispered that I overreacted, that I couldn't take a joke. But the people who laughed that night were the same ones who believed her stories now. It didn't matter. Truth doesn't need validation. I moved on quietly. I focused on rebuilding not just my house but myself. The new home I'm building is entirely mine, unshared, uncompromised. Every nail, every wall is a promise to myself that I will never again beg to be valued. Months later I ran into Vanessa again. She told me Rachel was still spiraling, lost her job, couldn't focus, sleeping on her couch. I felt a flicker of pity but not regret. Then she said something that cut through everything. She told me that night at the wedding wasn't the first time Rachel had spoken about me like that. She mocked me behind my back for years. Hearing it out loud didn't shock me, it just confirmed what I already knew deep down. I had loved the version of her I created, not the one who truly existed. That's when it hit me. The betrayal wasn't just in her words, it was in how long I ignored what they revealed. The man who once built everything around her finally built something for himself: peace. I'm not bitter, I'm not broken, I'm free. And if you've ever been humiliated, underestimated, or treated like you were less than enough, remember this: you owe no one a second chance to disrespect you. Walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the moment you reclaim your worth. So if you're still here, still listening, don't just scroll past. Reflect, share this story if it resonates. And subscribe, because every story here is a reminder that sometimes the quietest revenge is simply moving on with dignity, with strength, and without ever looking back.